Today we're going to be fixing something that quietly kills a lot of newsletters: unengaged subscribers. When we set this up in Beehiiv, our open rate jumped from 19% to 40%. That is not a tiny bump. That is the difference between half of your audience ignoring you versus actually reading. And the reason is simple. If you keep sending to people who never open or click, Gmail assumes that your emails are low quality and hurts deliverability for everyone. So I'll show you exactly how to set up a dynamic segment and an automation in Beehiiv that cleans your lists on autopilot. Do it once and you'll never have to think about it again. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. First, we need to create a static segment just to see the scope of the problem, right? So we're on segments under audience in Beehiiv. So we're going to go to create segment. And just remember, this is going to be a static segment just so we can see a snapshot. I'm going to name this unengaged subs. And then you can also write a description if you want. I'm going to go and define the conditions. So for the first condition, we're going to choose under subscriber data. We're going to choose engagement. Then from here, for our engagement, we're going to choose unique opens is exactly 0. So meaning they haven't opened emails. The next condition, we're going to go back under subscriber data, but we're going to choose attribute. And the attribute is going to be our status, and the status is active. So just making sure that they are currently subscribed to our newsletter. And then the final condition is going to be attribute. Our attribute is going to be sign up date is after a relative date of, and we're going to do 150 days ago. So this is about 5 months. You can also make this like 90 days. It's just depending on how strict you want your cleanup to be. But I wouldn't do more than 60 days or so, just to make sure that you're not wiping majority of your list. So we're going to save this segment, and then it's going to start processing. So I'm going to give it a couple minutes to process, and then we'll come back whenever it's completed. Okay, so our segment is done processing. And as you can see, under this segment, we have 491 subscribers. So what does this mean? This is the amount of subscribers that have not opened our newsletter or any of our emails within the past 5 months. So you can go and see all of these subscribers. You can export them. And if you want to get into the nitty-gritty, you can see where they were acquired from. So depending on if you're paying for subscribers, if you're running ads, if you're partnering with other newsletters to bring in these subscribers, you can go and analyze where these subscribers came from and which of your efforts are not paying off because they're obviously not engaged in your emails, right? So this is just a really good snapshot of what you can accomplish. Okay, so now that we have a good idea of how many subscribers that we will lose from cleaning out our email list, we can create the automation. So now let's do something with all these subs, right? So let's go into automations under audience in Beehiiv. And what's really cool is that Beehiiv has a built-in unengaged trigger for this exact use case. When I made ours, Beehiiv didn't have automation templates, so this is awesome that they've made it so easy. So if we go to create automation, you can see we have our own templates, and then we can also quickly start from these templates. So they have this re-engagement automation flow, 90-day inactivity, which is a great option so you can give your subscribers a few extra chances before you change their status. So if we use this template, we can take a look at the workflow. Let me zoom out a bit. So we have our trigger, and then they get 3 extra emails depending on their actions before you guys finally part ways. Or you can keep it super simple and send 1 email before you change the status like we did. So let me show you how we did this. So I can go into our unengaged subs automation. We can go into the workflow, and then let's just walk through what this looks like. So we have our trigger. Our trigger is basically if they haven't opened an email from us in 150 days, they are going to be triggered into this automation. Once they're triggered into this, they get this email. This is just a super simple email. Our subject just says, "This is awkward. We haven't heard from you. You signed up to receive Make or Thrive emails," where we share just a brief overview on what our newsletter is and what kind of emails we're sending. Sympathize with them. We get it. Life gets busy, so we wanted to check in. If you still want to receive weekly Make or Thrive emails, simply click here to stay subscribed. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and automatically remove you from our list. So we just have 2 options here for them to click. So either if they open this email or if they click it, that will determine what happens to them in the next step. These 2 buttons, just send them to our Make or Thrive homepage. You can send them wherever you would like, maybe like a form or something to fill out some more information if they're willing. This could be really anything you want, but we just send them to our homepage. So once they get that email, we have a 2-day time delay. So next we have a true or false branch, and this is days without clicks is greater than or equal to 2. So if they do not click on that last email on either of the buttons within 2 days, they get brought into this true or false branch. If it's false, so they did click, their status will update to active. It's already active, but we're just going to ensure that they want to stay on our list. If they do not click the buttons, they'll fall into the true branch, and then we are setting their status to inactive. So super simple. We give them 1 email. Do you want to stay or not? If they click yes, they fall back into their active and they'll continue getting emails from us. If they do not click, showing that they're unengaged or they're actively not clicking, then they will fall into the true. We'll set them inactive. They won't get emails from us anymore. I think this flow is great for the initial cleanup if you've had a big chunk in your segment that we ran earlier. But once you've done this run, I recommend switching over to beehiiv's template so that you can give your subs more chances. So let's take a look at that real quick. We could just go to the re-engagement automation. It's the same trigger. They will get a, hey, are you still here email, a time delay, so we have for 3 days, and then they also have a true or false branch. So days without opens or clicks is greater than 3. If it's false, they'll stay active, right? But this true goes a little bit further into detail. So if they are not clicking this, they'll get a second email. So these will say, just following up, looks like you missed our last email. We'll give them another chance. Yes, keep me in. Okay, we're gonna wait for 3 days to give them that opportunity. The next one is another true or false. Days without opens or clicks is greater than 3. If they click on it, again, we'll set the status to active. If they do not click on it, we're saying goodbye. Hi there, we noticed you haven't been engaging, so we've unsubscribed you. No worries, keeping your inbox clean is important, but if this was a mistake or you change your mind, you're always welcome back. Just click below to resubscribe. So this will resubscribe them to the list. We're gonna give them 3 days. Another true or false. If they do open or click that button, we'll set the status to active. If not, then we'll finally set them to inactive. So this gives them a couple more chances. Of course, people aren't able to check their email every single day. So giving them a couple more options helps you and helps them in case they did want to stay on your list and they are engaged, but life gets busy and things come up. So this is a really good option to run consistently. And then I recommend this super simple one just to clean it out. If you do notice that your email stats are super low, you're not getting good engagement, this is a super good one to use, and it's super simple. They either want to be there or they don't. So that's basically it. You've got a self-cleaning newsletter list. No more manual purges and no more silent subscribers dragging you down. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the Make or Thrive channel, and I'll see you in the next one.